Before we dive into the blood-soaked madness of this 88 film slasher classic collection review, a quick heads up for listeners and viewers alike. These episodes come straight from the podcast Under the Stairs archives, recorded before the launch of the YouTube channel and long before video podcasts became part of the show. These reviews were originally crafted purely for audio. So if the production feels a little rougher around the edges or a little more stripped back than current episodes, that's because you're hearing the show in its earlier form. Raw, passionate, and let's be honest, a little waffly at times. Whether you're revisiting these reviews or discovering them for the first time, please sit back and relax and enjoy this trip through the golden age of mass killers, inventive gore, and VH era nightmares. This podcast is not safe for work and will feature movie spoilers. It will feature scenes described of a graphic nature. It will contain language which most listeners may find offensive. Welcome to the podcast Under the Stairs. Hi everyone and welcome to the podcast Under the Stairs. This is your 88 films slasher classic collection series of reviews. I'm your host Duncan. Welcome to the show. On this episode we look at disc number 11. This is Bloodsucking Pharaohs of Pittsburgh. That's right, we are finally reaching this movie I'd heard absolutely nothing about. I had never heard of this one before, and we're going to be reviewing it after our first break. But before we get to that, what has been happening under the stairs? Well, loads have been happening. It's been kind of crazy, kind of manic. We are currently full throng in our midst of trying to sort out the movies that will be covered as part of the podcast Under the Stairs Summer Top 10 series of reviews, looking at the decade known as the 90s. And there's a ton of conversation. We are whittling down hundreds of movies down to 100 that will be discussed over that series, which will be starting in just over a month's time. So get yourself ready for that, because it's going to be a ton of fun, and I would like to say not controversial this year, but you know what it's like. Once we start going, the comments start flowing. So that is what you have to look forward to coming up real soon Under the Stairs. Now, this kind of closes out a great week of podcasting. We've had a lot of fun, we've done a lot of cool shit, and it feels inevitable that we kind of swing into next week and get back to serious business. Some serious bee-snatch, as the kids call it. I don't think anyone calls it that, but I'm calling it that. Kicking off tomorrow, we will do the Choose Your Own Horror podcast review adventure, your choice, with a caveat that the movie selected must score over 4 stars, or that series finishes, and then we recalibrate for a new series kicking off in July. I've already watched the film. I will be recording this episode later today, and I cannot tell you what I thought of it. You'll just have to wait and see. So will the streak continue of great suggestions, or will it finish in unceremonious fashion? Or will be revealed tomorrow. Also, coming up next week, you should be getting a bonus review of the new Blumhouse horror movie, Ma, coming out on Thursday, and then on Sunday, your 88 Films Italian collection review will be forthwith. So there we go, that's all I've got to say up front before we take a break. So we're going to do that right now. You're going to hear promos for shows that I love. You're going to hear the trailer for Bloodsucking Pharaohs of Pittsburgh, and when we return, it's disc 11 of the 88 Films Slasher Classics collection. All that and more coming right up right after this.
Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Maddie.
Do you like horror movies?
I sure do.
Well, did you know that most horror movies are inspired by real-life horror?
Really? Like what?
Well, take The Shining, for instance. That's based on Stephen King's real-life addictions, or The Purge, which could be our country any minute now.
Oh, and The Strangers, which is based on a real-life murder. People should be talking about these things.
Hey, Guys.
Oh, hey, Producer Michael.
Hi.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but somebody already is. It's you!
That's right. We are Friday the 13th, the podcast where we talk about horror in real life and horror in media, all from an LGBTQ perspective.
Because we gay, y'all.
We are proud members of the Legion Podcast Network, and we can be found on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or wherever your favorite podcasts are found.
And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Come along with us on this crazy journey, and as always,
Get slayed.
Hey, did you hear that?
A serial killer
Mister, you got a quarter?
is on the loose,
Hey, if you don't have a quarter, that's okay too, man.
and these two cops are on the case.
Detectives? Who happen to be the lousiest cops on the force?
Look behind you towards that corner. Don't be obvious.
But when the bad guys turn out to be bad girls, and the killer starts working overtime, can these cops save Pittsburgh before it's too late?
Shut up! It's only Sweeney's wife.
You'll get a blast out of this hilarious horror spoof.
This one's a blockbuster. 2 thumbs up.
Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh. Now on video cassette from Paramount.
And welcome back. So, yeah, you just had the trailer for disc number 11 of the 88 Films Slasher Classics series. That's right. We're looking at Bloodsucking Pharaohs of Pittsburgh, which for some reason is now no longer available on their website, and it is quite difficult to track down. So I'm not entirely sure if they went out of print or they've lost the licensing rights to it, but yeah, not an easy one to get. I couldn't find it in any shops, couldn't find it anywhere except a kind of shop seller on Amazon. So even Amazon didn't actually just have it themselves, and it took like 2 weeks to arrive, this one, and cost me a little bit more than what I'm used to paying for titles in the collection, if I'm honest. So yeah, I was kind of already like, why is this so difficult to get your hands on, and why, you know, like there was already queries because this one was region unlocked, and as a result I was kind of confused at this one. Like I instantly thought that maybe there was something out there going to tell me that this was like a bad movie, or there'd been some sort of controversy with it, and that's why it'd been dropped. Now, as it's not on their website, I can't do my usual blurb that I do, so we will we will not spend time kind of working on that. But what we can do is we can talk very briefly about some of the aspects before we actually talk about the movie. I mean, this film is presented in 1080p 178.1, and apparently, from what I can gather, this is the first time it's been produced on Blu-ray, and it also seems like there've been some issues out there with the originals. The original negatives hadn't been all that great, so as a result the kind of transfer, the master transfer over into Blu-ray had hit some complications, and that would explain some stuff. This doesn't look all that great, even by 88 film standards. Now, it doesn't help that I've got a big fancy TV, and it highlights every little problem, and some people would argue that, you know, the grain and the scratches and stuff like that will add to the viewing experience of this, but it looks like some scenes have been very well kind of reproduced, and fixed and remastered, and other ones less so, and I can only assume that those are the ones that were more damaged than the others. So it's not great. The colours as well seem to be a bit of an issue, where things feel like they should be a bit more vibrant, they're not. When things feel like they should be a bit more kind of crisp, they feel matted. So yeah, I wasn't entirely overwhelmed with this. I will say that the sound on it as well, and I think this is less to do with their transfer, the sound on the Blu-ray isn't great either. There appear to be like crackles and stuff like that I could hear anyway. Once again, it doesn't help that I have plugged into my TV a powerful subwoofer, which, you know, is our sound bar, which highlights a lot of these things, and it's just not as clean as other transfers, and I'm wondering if that's why it's now no longer available from their website. And I'm not wanting to try and put forward these kind of, I don't know what we call it, conspiracy theories as to why you can't get it. It just feels like this is a lesser quality output in terms of the transfer and the sound. But what you do get here is some fucking great special features. The first one being a Tom Savini interview, which lasts about 12 minutes, and it's cool. It's always cool to hear Tom Savini talk because he's very passionate about what he does. But him talking about how he became involved with the project overall, he even talks you through how he manages to do some of his special effects. And specifically how this is this little hidden gem of these movies that he worked on. This one is not like instantly quotable amongst Savini fanatics. You know, this was one of these ones which is slightly more obscure. It makes me wonder if that's once again one of the reasons why it's taken so long for it to find a Blu-ray remaster. You also get an animated stills gallery here, which are okay. So some of the music plays through it, plays in the background. It's about 5 minutes long, it's fine. We get some behind the scenes footage, which is about 15 minutes in length, which is okay. It's kind of shot for VHS, so it's not great, but looks fine. And then deleted scenes, tons of deleted scenes in this one. This was about 20 minutes long. A lot of the scenes were trimmed out for this to give it an R rating in the States when it played. And yeah, so we get some of that. Now the kind of transfers of this are laughably bad. They're not good at all, but sometimes cool seeing how scenes could have been extended or how things would have been done. I thought that was quite interesting. And then your standard kind of trailer reel, which you get on a lot of these things, which is fine. I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and say I'm a bit confused why they keep putting 88 Films trailer reel as a special feature here. It repeats on almost everyone, and they try and mix them up. But to be honest with you, yeah, especially on this one, the trailer reel here shows some movies which are infinitely better than this one. So I'm like, yeah, you didn't really want to do that, or that's just my opinion overall. So let's talk about the movie itself. So when I posted I was watching this one, people were like, oh yeah, this one's a fun little jaunt. You're going to have some fun. Well, you might have some fun with this one. Bloodsucking Pharaohs of Pittsburgh is also known as Picking Up the Pieces. And interesting, like, Picking Up the Pieces to me feels a bit more in line with it. There is a lot of pieces in this to an extent. Now, anyone that's been listening to this podcast long enough knows that I have an unabashed love of the film pieces, the what I would say classic 80s slasher movie, which is a kind of hybrid non-Italian giallo meets Spanish knockoff slasher. This kind of feels, in a lot of respects, very, very similar, but much more tongue-in-cheek. Had I not known better, I would have said that this could potentially be like a kind of offshot of some of the Blue Moon kind of outputs. There's certainly that kind of humour that runs through here that you would associate with like Charles Band and stuff. And that, you know, I was kind of feeling that might be maybe the way things were going. We have a killer who is all dressed in black, once again, wink wink, nudge nudge pieces, who's going around stealing body parts from people. So there's a bit of kind of blood feast in here as well. And Blood Feast is actually a really good comparison as well with this one, I think. Even when you watch something like Mardi Gras Massacre, which is like the unofficial kind of remake, one of many unofficial remakes to Blood Feast. There's a bit of that in there as well, where it's very kind of bumbling cops that are all over the top and animated, trying to track down a killer who is apparently maybe doing things in a fashion where they are trying to create some sort of occult-like a ritual using like Egyptology or things like that. So the cops are investigating this. There's various different kind of power tools and such like used to commit the murders, which I will give this movie this. They do not spare the rod when it comes to giving you a bit of gore and a bit of viscera. This one definitely leans towards that. But yeah, what you have here is essentially a kind of very fun, very goofy, very camp, very over the top. You could call this a slasher. It's more like a quasi slasher of like kind of brutal killings done in a comical fashion using comical devices to set up this kind of red herring laden story of who could the killer be. Could it be one of the cops working on this case who worked on a previous one? And we kind of trundle it through. The stuff related to Egypt is, it's tenuous a little bit, and it feels like a kind of insignificant plot device flung in here for someone who clearly is a fan of, like I said before, movies that exist in the kind of PCs and kind of blood feast environment. This movie reminded me a lot of a previous movie that we've already covered in this one, which I kind of feel pretty much the same as I do about Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh, and that is Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, which we did, five ago, I think, 5 or 6 ago. There's a lot of kind of crossover. There's a lot of synchronicity between the two, and I think they exist. They would be a great double bill, to be fair. Although this one is a little bit less on the titillation side, a little bit less on the look, there's lots of tits and women with tits, look at all the tits, which is kind of Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, where Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh is a bit more on the kind of comedy crime caper environment. I mean, some of the performances here are kind of awesome. Don Brockett plays the police chief. He's kind of great. Kind of enjoyed that as well. There's a great performance here by Suzanne Fletcher, who plays Dee Dee Taylor in the movie. She's great. But I mean, what I kind of came away with in this one is it was a fun watch for sure. It is very campy and very over the top. But I don't know necessarily if I imagine what kind of struck me is this movie's like out in the very early 90s, and it kind of feels like it should be an 80s movie. It really feels like it should be an 80s movie. It kind of feels like this is a hangover from the 80s, where people are like, well, maybe we do this one. And it shares a lot of DNA with some of the more obscure, fun, quirky 80s quote-unquote slasher movies. But it never really at any point like wowed me or dragged me or kept my attention. I felt my eyes twisting to the side quite a lot. I did smile and giggle quite a bit in this one, and I mean, that's what they're aiming for here. No one's making a serious movie called fucking Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh. The soundtrack, even though it had kind of pop and all the rest, is really, really, really good. And the special effects, I mean, this is not like primo Savini work, but even Savini's output on a lesser, smaller project is still a lot better than you were getting. And fucking fair play to them, this is early 90s, and they're still leading in to like really full-on, over-the-top, kind of almost Herschel Gordon Lewis level gore and special effects. I appreciate that. I really, really, really do. What's kind of funny about this one is that apparently this one did actually get a theatrical release, which blows my fucking mind. Absolutely blows my mind, considering I think this comes out same year as Silence of the Lambs. So, you know what I mean? No wonder Silence of the Lambs is pitching to the non-horror fans. It's really, 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 really weird. I kind of find that... I kind of find it just... I don't know, it was very amusing. But it's a lot of fluff. And I don't necessarily think... Once again, when I think of slashers, I sometimes imagine more of the serious shit. And I keep forgetting that like that serious shit can become really campy really quickly. And And it was a fun watch. I think that's what I keep leaning back on. When it finished, I thought, this is a fun fucking movie that I'd never heard anything about. And once again, 88 Films have done a great job at kind of highlighting these movies to me. Movies that I would never have seen before had they not been on their label. That I think that's it. I mean, if all else fails in this one, I had fun watching it. I don't know how quick I'll pick it back up to watch it again. It's part of the collection. It's in my collection now and I own it. But I don't think I'm rushing back to watch this one anytime soon. And in the same breath though, I think it's more difficult to make a movie which, you know, had this been played a lot more serious, I don't know how interested I'd be to watch it again anyway. The thing that kind of stood out for me is how much fun it is overall, and that is a huge selling point to me. I think when you have that as your selling point, you kind of make me happy. That's when I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean? You have me in. I want to watch fun movies. I think you give me this movie over some of the Nightmare on Elm Street later ones, which come out about the same time period, I'm more likely to watch this one than I am to watch that. So I think that speaks volumes into itself. And now I know very much that I'm just kind of rambling here. Like, I don't really have much more to say about it. I mean, it is what it is. It's no more than that, and nor should it be. I think it occupies a little bit of space and time, which I'm quite happy to have said that I've now seen. And yeah, when it comes to scoring this one, I couldn't score it any more than a 3.5. It's a 3.5 out of 5. It's fun, I liked it. I don't know how much I'd rush out to watch it again, but it has its little nasty bits, which kind of made me smile. It has some pretty good gore. It's mostly forgettable, to be honest with you. And yeah, I'm not sure. The biggest enduring question for me at the end of this one is why this is no longer on the 88 Films website, why it's so difficult to pick up now. And what was going on with the transfer, because it is not one of their better ones, and there are some sound issues for sure. So a 3.5 out of 5 for Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh. We're going to take our final break. When I come back, I'm closing out the show, and I'm doing it right after this. And you've been listening to the podcast Under the Stairs. This has been your 88 Films Slasher Classic series of reviews, looking at disc number 11, Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh. We will be turning our attention in 2 weeks' time to another video nasty, and one that I am genuinely excited to revisit. When I was doing the nasty series, this movie was one of the ones that stood out for me. It was one that I really enjoyed, so much so that when I found out that it was being released by 88 Films way back in the day now, this was the first of the Slasher Classics collection I bought. So we're going back, 2016 or something, I think, was when this was put out. I was very, very excited, could not wait to own this one, and yeah, it's now available for us to finally sit down and watch. It's been in shrink wrap for, 3 years? So we'll be peeling off that shrink wrap and sitting down to watch Nightmares in a Damaged Brain, which is disc number 12 in the collection. The 88 Films website says, few slasher classics have proven to be more controversial than Romano Scavolini's sickle slice up epic Nightmares in a Damaged Brain. Finally unleashed in the UK, uncut and uncensored, for the first time since VHS, back when the distributor of this bloodthirsty Halloween cash-in was imprisoned for 18 months just for daring to unleash it. Nightmares in a Damaged Brain depicts the slow mental burn down of an escaped psychopath as he hacks his way through New York's 42nd Street, horny teenagers and random suburban housewives. But there is more to his rampage than meets the eye, as the shocking final twist reveals. Featuring enough Freudian fermentations to appease genre academics and packing in more plasma splash set pieces than any of its rivals, Nightmares in a Damaged Brain is advised only for the strongest of stomachs. One thing is for sure though, this is the slasher classic you have all been craving for, remastered and restored from the original in-camera elements. Special features are Terror in Times Square, a guide to Nightmare Grindhouse Kingdom, audio commentary by Bill Paul, an interview with Tom Ward, the CEO of 21st Century Films, and a trailer. This was region locked to the UK. It's released in HD 1781 with LPCM mono audio format, and the movie is just over an hour and a half. I cannot wait to revisit this one. This is one that I genuinely have fond memories. I've only ever seen it once, and I'm looking forward to coming back. So this could get rated quite high. This could be one of these ones where the classics collection once again endears itself to me and makes me happy. Time, ladies and gents, will tell. There's a multitude of ways to check out Podcasts Under the Stairs. As always, I say come across and check us out on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to the feed. That way you get the shows as and when they drop. And also leave us a little rating and a review. It's the best way to support us on that platform. You can come across and check us out also on Stitcher Smart Radio, SoundCloud, Google Play, TuneIn and Spotify. Visit our website, it's tputscast.com. And if you want to support the show, you can buy a poster or an enamel pin. That money comes back and helps us what we do under the stairs. It helps just pay a couple of them bills when they come in. And you can do that by going to tputscast.bigcartel.com. You can visit us on Facebook. We're in two places if you want to join the group page, chat with other listeners and get involved with all manner of horror conversation. That's facebook.com/groups/tputscast. If you're only interested as and when the shows drop, occasionally check out a live stream or a Thursday, then that is the Facebook page you want, which is facebook.com/tputscast. You can interact with myself and the Baz and the twin prongs of social media sexiness. Instagram and Twitter both can be followed at tputscast. The podcast Under the Stairs will return tomorrow with another one of them choose your own horror podcast review adventures. Let's see if it's make or break time. Will the season continue? Will the listener's streak carry on? Or will it be DOA? Motherfucking dead on arrival. All will be told tomorrow when that episode drops. But until then, wherever you are, whatever the time zone is and whatever you're up to in this big bad world of ours, please take care of yourselves out there. This is Duncan McLeese broadcasting live from Under the Stairs, and I am signing off.